Hello, good evening, and welcome back. So, with Brexit being in the news yet again, as if it ever left the news, and with the third or fourth or maybe even fifth referendum coming up, depending on how you count it, with the general election, we mustn't forget why we decided to vote in the first place. We mustn't become complacent. And with the London Bridge terror attack going down the memory hole very quickly as well, I think it pertinent to have some spatial repetition system in bringing up this story that we find today as well. So, of course, with Brexit, the idea being that we are, overall, a good nation, the nation of England, of Britain, of the United Kingdom, of the British Isles. Great Britain is indeed great, and the United Kingdom is indeed united. What are we united with? Well, we are, of course, united with our English common law, our libertarian values, and the same values that caused British in time of old to split off and create the United States of America. Of course, that does have British roots, and they decided to go more constitutional. What are we united against? We are, of course, united against barbaric ideologies that have not caught up to the 21st century or even the 18th century, and by which I mean, of course, fundamental Islam. And we saw an example of what Islam causes people to do in civilized societies, in modern societies, with the London Bridge terror attack. And we see it yet again here from the Daily Mail. Woman 32 and 31-year-old man are arrested in Dover on suspicion of preparing to commit terror offences. A 32-year-old man and a 31-year-old woman were both arrested in Dover, Kent. Male arrested on suspicion of preparing terror offences and funding terrorism. Female was arrested on suspicion of preparing to commit terrorism offences. This was not related to the London Terror Bridge incident, which in my mind makes it worse, because it's not as if you've got one group who are teaming together in order to try and do as much damage as they can, and it's just this small group. But no, instead it is decentralised and propagated around the United Kingdom, and here of course we see it in Dover, in Kent. And this was not at all related to London, and it is not at all British either. A man and woman have been arrested on suspicion of terror offences relating to Syria, police said. Yes, as in people will think, yes, this is a very good, civilised, welcoming, tolerant, encouraging society, Britain. It has many modern luxuries, which of course go against the doctrine of Islam because you can't have any new innovations, which includes writing down what Muhammad said, but hey, that wouldn't have helped Islam prosper if they actually went according to his word. So they decided, nah, we know better than Muhammad did in this, except everything else, yes, unless that also becomes inconvenient, at which point, no, we don't know better than him. So, hey, they were picking and choosing from before they even wrote the Quran. But nonetheless, a West Midlands police statement said the pair were arrested in Dover, Kent on Saturday, and the arrests were not linked to the London Bridge terror attack last month. Yes, that means it is more of a more endemic than just one problem of the London Bridge terror attack, and yet, as I say, it is decentralised more throughout the United Kingdom. The force said that the 32-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of preparing to commit terror offences as well as funding terrorism, while the 31-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of preparing to commit an act of terror. Yet, moving on, they conclude to say, a spokesman added, a 32-year-old man and a 31-year-old woman were arrested in Dover. The man was arrested on suspicion of preparing to commit terrorism offences and funding supporting terrorism. The arrests were not linked in any way to the London Bridge terror attack, and inquiries into this matter were underway prior to the incident on November 29th. Because we know that there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of people on their Islamic indoctrination watch list at any one time, and yet people do of course slip through the cracks. MI5 as well as MI6 are incredibly good, incredibly useful, and in times of necessity they do show their capabilities. You can look at the Second World War, or maybe even the Cold War, when they're actually required in order to see evidence of this. However, now that political correctness has gotten into them, they cannot function properly, as is the case whenever this ideology of cultural Marxism gets into any worthwhile establishment, that then it ceases to be productive and is unable to do the deed or carry out the acts that it was intended to do. And you see the same here with our intelligence forces as well, where police won't actually go on the intelligence that is provided, given that they are concerned about being racist. But, as the Britisher says, British people are slow to rile, but impossible to stop once we've been riled. And as Blackpill says more universally, just to the white ethnicity, nice until we're not, which he said in relation to Office Space, the movie. So there will come a point at which point the British people will say, nah, that's enough, and will no longer stand for this taking over of the United Kingdom. They will no longer stand for, well, they've been force-fed for so long, and they will no longer stand for foreign ideologies being perpetuated within the great United Kingdom. And I think that time is quickly approaching. I'm not saying for civil war, no, certainly not, because it won't be civil, and it won't be against brothers and sisters. It will instead be against the foreign threat. The Islamic State is already at war with the UK, and it is about time we acknowledge that. But if Brexit is delivered, then maybe they can stave this off a bit more. Maybe that can still be a safety valve, just like Donald Trump being elected was, if you are so black-pilled inclined. So for now, we will bite our tongue, but until it becomes too much and the protests start, and as they've shown in other countries, like the Gilets jaunes in France, which was started off by fuel tax hikes, that at that point the threshold for protest was decreased, and they would protest about lesser important things because, hey, they're already there, so why not continue? It's proven that it's actually okay to do. And in Hong Kong, where their first requirement was to denounce and deny the extradition bill, but now they have 5 demands. It is the same the world over. It starts with one thing: it is the straw that broke the camel back. And once the dam is burst, the floodgates have been opened, there are a whole host of other things. If people can't, if the politicians, the elites, the ones in the ivory towers can't create enough safety valves to stop it from happening. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But until next time, have a wonderful week. It is Sunday after all, so Merry Christmas as we lead up to Christmas. Hope this wasn't too much of a downer, and hopefully next time it'll be nicer. But hey, new microphone, isn't that nice? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say, so thank you so much, and I will see you next time. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you tomorrow.